soldier.
Alrighty, people. I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. It is March 19th, 2025. We are live streaming on Rumble, on YouTube, and on Locals. We have a post-game show 30 seconds after today's program, rubinreport.locals.com. And today is just it's a pre-mo show. I promise you, high quality greatness throughout the show. There's so many good things happening. We got a bit about the astronauts. We got a little bit about world peace. We got more of the fraud disappearing. There's just all sorts of good stuff happening. And of course, the Democrats melting and disappearing as they should. And what will arise out of the ashes? Will it be a phoenix or will it be a trans Hamas supporter? Who knows? But let's dive right in. Let's start with this incredible moment where, as you know, we covered a little bit of it yesterday, and I'm sure you've been seeing the clips online. It really is just so incredible. And sometimes when incredible things it's hard to even fathom what is actually going on. But we had these astronauts who basically, for political reasons, were stuck at the International Space Station. And there's this crazy guy, his name is Elon Musk, and he has this thing called SpaceX. He also has Tesla, and he also has Neuralink and a whole bunch of other things. But he sent a SpaceX rocket to go get these guys and bring them home. Here's a little compilation, and some of this actually looks fake. I mean, it really is absolutely incredible. So they've picked them up already. They're on the way home. And we're going to get in a moment, and then there'll be some audio. There's just no audio on this first portion right here. But it really, this looks like right out of Star Wars or just any sci-fi movie. But it's real. Look at this. Look at this. So that is the capsule landing in the Gulf
splashdown. Crew 9
of America. And then I'll be quiet for a moment.
SpaceX Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Suni, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
Yeah. Making sure everything's all right. Yeah. We got you.
Looks like we're getting our next crew member here. That is none other than Suni Williams. Big smile, big waves. She, like her other crew members, now will be assisted onto the mobility aid.
Look, I know we can all be jaded and everything is cynical these days and everything else, but this is unbelievable. These guys, we'll have more on it in just a second, we're basically stuck up there for political purposes. These are heroes, people who literally put their lives on the line, do not know if they will ever return home, don't know if the rocket's going to make it to the space station in the first place, and everything else. And here they are. And again, it partly looks fake. It's just absolutely incredible. Here is some video of the astronauts. This is the day before they got home. So this is 2 days ago, confirming what Elon Musk said, which is that the initial attempt to bring them home via the Biden administration was denied.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for doing this. So my question relates to Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that, though, whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that you would be hoping for.
Okay, so in some sense, you might be saying, all right, it doesn't matter because they're home. But Elon went on Hannity last night and talked about how, yes, it is true, the Biden administration, for political purposes, because they could have brought these guys home months ago, but because Elon was out there supporting Trump, campaigning with Trump, they did not want to give Elon a win because an Elon win would have gleaned off a little bit on Trump. It's the most disgusting, again, cynical thing that you can possibly do. Take a look.
But
I just want to clarify on the issue of whether or not you had offered to send this rocket to space to rescue these astronauts sooner to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I heard somebody earlier today say, in fact, that didn't happen when I believe it did.
No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most, and we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons.
Put aside politics for a second. Imagine you're one of these people. And again, your life, you literally are hugging and kissing your spouse and your kids and your parents and brothers and sisters and saying goodbye to all your friends, and you do not know if you are coming home. Even if the mission is only supposed to be 8 days, you do not know what is going to happen when you get out into the great nothing, right? You're supposed to be there for 8 days. You end up being there for 9 months. And for months and months, when you know that there's a way to get you back because SpaceX can do it, because it's pretty freaking awesome what they're doing. They're sending rockets up to space and then they catch them with robot arms. It's pretty cool. And you land down there and then the dolphins and the whole thing. It's a pretty awesome thing. Like, think about what these people are probably feeling right now. I mean, not only the relief to be home and be with their loved ones, but what their government, I mean, they put their lives on the line for the pursuit of space, for the pursuit of what mankind could potentially achieve. And that's what the Biden administration left these people with. Here's Trump giving Elon a shout out for just making this freaking thing happen.
Meanwhile, it's because of Elon Musk. Everything he did with SpaceX, that those astronauts stranded for 9 months, they're finally coming home. Mr. President, your reaction to what's unfolding?
So when I came in office, I said, Elon, we got to get them out. You have a rocket ship handy? How many people have a rocket? And Biden left them up. He abandoned them. You know, we could have done this sooner, but Biden didn't want to because he was embarrassed by what happened. So they were up there. They were supposed to be there for a few days. They were there for many months. And now they're coming back. But think of it. Elon's able to do that with his genius. And you have people that hate it. And I really believe these are people that hate our country. It's a big problem. But, you know, there aren't so many of them. There are many more that love our country. And they love our country now more than they have maybe ever in their lives. There's never been a movement like MAGA, like America First, call it whatever you want to call it. This is the greatest movement in the history of politics.
That is so true and so right. And even the way he says it, Elon, you got a rocket around here? Does anybody have a rocket? Because we'd like that's how he operates. And then we make it happen. And then we can feel pride again about the country. How is it? I feel slightly to blame on this. Maybe I should have been covering it more for the 8 months that these guys were at that point, it was about 6 months that they were hung up there during the Biden administration. Like, how is that not something we all cared about more, right? Like, it's actually crazy. And then it's so nuts. You bring in people who know how to do things, and then you can literally save astronauts who are hung up in space. But it's not just sending people to space that science is good at. It's also giving people boners. Here's our next ad. Fellas, let's be real. Everyone could use an extra hand. But with Blue Chew, you get an extra leg. They're the original service offering chewable tablets to help you with performance, and now they've taken it up a notch. Introducing Blue Chew Max, a powerhouse formula combining the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable tablet. This combo is so strong you might even have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. That means fast-acting, long-lasting support when you need it most. Be ready when the moment's right. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with a licensed medical provider, and once approved, your prescription ships directly to your door discreetly and hassle-free. No waiting rooms, no awkward conversations, no pharmacy lines. And here's the best part. We've got a special deal just for you. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code Rubin. Just pay $5 shipping. So if you've been looking to step up your game, head on over to BlueChew.com and use promo code Rubin to get started. More confidence, better moments, delivered straight to you. For more details and important safety information, visit BlueChew.com. How about that science, huh? Can do anything. The rockets, the boners, pretty fantastic. How's the media covering this incredible, unbelievable event? Well, this is from media, right? SpaceX rocket makes it to space without exploding. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? These people are so mind muddled, so broken, so partisan, and so full of hate. You know, they really, really are. If you cannot celebrate this, if politics has broken you to the point that you cannot celebrate this because you do not like the fact that Elon Musk is cutting government waste, that you cannot celebrate astronauts coming back home, you're just so freaking lost. And speaking of lost, I mean, we have so many people lost throughout this country right now. It's just crazy. Whether you like Elon or not, whether you like that he campaigned with Trump or not, whether you like Tesla or SpaceX or anything else or not, one thing you're not allowed to do is wander into private property and start breaking windows and burning things down and punching people and everything else. Normally, I wouldn't have to say that, except we live in these abnormal times where, well, here's New York City Tesla store. Take a look.
Not another billionaire! We need not another billionaire!
Listen, I know it's New York City. We're going to show you some other videos. I know this New York City, so they don't do anything, right? You can literally be a Hamas supporter and call for genocide and take over streets and campuses and everything else, on top of breaking windows at, car showrooms and all that. And they do jack shit, so nothing's going to happen to these people. Little slap on the wrist. I'm sure they'll all be out. But I'll now give you the Dave Rubin version of this, which is you throw the book at these people. Whatever the absolute maximum punishment and sentence is, that's what a serious society would do right now. We are in the midst of a low-grade color revolution, whether it's the Hamas guys on the streets or the people blowing up Tesla factories, or well, not blowing up Tesla factories, but burning down Tesla charging stations. Check this out from Las Vegas. I mean, just absolutely insane. Really think about what these people are doing. Think about what, Jesus, look at that. I mean, think about what these people are doing. Someone owns those cars. Elon does not own those cars anymore. That is a charging station. That means someone is driving from Vegas to LA, or maybe back the other way, or going somewhere else, or maybe driving across the country, because you can do that in a Tesla now too, because he's got these incredible charging stations that are getting faster and faster and better at what they do all the time. And you're some lunatic because you don't like that we're finding out that we're not going to support trans comic books in Peru anymore. Sorry, Connor. Because we're not doing that anymore. You're going to blow up somebody's car. And we just do it. Then it's next week. And we're just like, oh, another thing happened. Let's not forget, beginning of the year, how did the year start off in America? An Islamist jihadist killed how many people in New Orleans? Did they kill 12 people when they plowed that car in New Orleans? And we just move on. And how long can a society hold when you allow this to happen? So you track these people down, you find them, and you punish them to the maximum extent of the law. That's what a sane society does. How many people died in New Orleans? 14 people died in a jihadist attack in January. Funny, we only talked about that for about half a minute. Anyway, Elon, a little more from his interview with Hannity, talked about what's now happening to these Tesla showrooms and these charger stations.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there is this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged, there's some kind of mental illness thing going on here, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and I think there are larger forces at work as well. I mean, I don't know who's funding it and who's coordinating it, because this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
And he's right. Who's funding it and who's coordinating it? It's exactly the same thing as the Hamas protests all over the place. They are coordinated. They are planned, right? This didn't just naturally pop up where someone in Vegas decided to blow up those Teslas, and someone in New York City decided to break the windows at the Tesla station. And we even saw it. My guy Joey, who works for me, was driving by our Tesla place in Miami, and they were protesting. In Miami, if you break windows or you try to blow up a car, they're going to shoot you. So we do it a little differently here in the free state of Florida. But that is the blueprint that America is going to start needing. And you might say, well, Elon's being a little loose with his language. Is it, what do you mean it's the left and the Democrats doing these things? This is just a bunch of radicals. No, it is virtually everyone in the Democrat Party. What's the line that I always repeat from Jordan Peterson? He went to DC years ago and asked all of these Democrat Congress people and senators, when does the left go too far? And nobody would give him a line. Well, now check this out. Tim Walz is doing town halls. People pay for this. They literally pay for this. Honey, would you like to go to a Tim Walz show? I mean, this is just the biggest condemnation of American education that you could possibly imagine. But anyway, Tim Walz is out there. He's got a microphone. He's on stage. And listen to how excited he is that things are not going well for Tesla at the moment.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So... And if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
All right, choice language here, because I just got to do it. He's just a disgusting fucking pig. That's what he is. Can you pull up, we have a chart for Tesla stock? I think we have it. Yeah. Do we have it? Yeah. So this is Tesla stock, which is suddenly going down, right? But for years and years, it has been going up. You guys know the story about how Elon got his compensation package, where he asked for no money and said, I will reach these insane goals. And the board basically was like, yeah, okay, if you get these insane goals, you're going to get whatever it was. It was like $400 billion. And they were like, you're never going to do it, so fine, we'll do it. And then he did do it. And then a Delaware judge tried to stop him from getting the incentive package. It's completely insane. But how disgusting. What a worthless human being you are, Tim Walz. Not only do you stand for nothing and you have so many problems in your states, and you're just this, we'll have more on you in just a moment, you're just this nothing. So congratulations, you can get a couple laughs at your little show, whatever you're doing over there. But do you know that there are people who own Tesla stock who are good people? And just because you got your henchmen out there blowing up their stations and keying cars and going after the showrooms, and now the stock is struggling a little bit, which is, by the way, has been the #1 selling car in America for a couple of years right now. And it's such a beautiful piece of machinery. I'm telling you, if you've never driven in a Tesla, just go to a showroom, take a test drive. It is so absolutely exquisite and elegant. Putting aside the green part and the battery and everything else, do we have a 5-year chart? So we have a 5-year chart on Tesla. So look at Tesla over the years. So over the years, it has gone up and, basically up and up and up. There's always little dips here and there. And right now it just happens to be hurting, but it's still significantly higher than it was even 5 years ago. That's the broader point here. But the fact that a man who wanted to be vice president just months ago is celebrating the fact that the #1 American car maker is now down in the stock market, like, screw you, you worthless nothing. Let's get him on the show so I can say that in person. Okay, let's do that. Elon saw what Tim Walz said, and he wrote this. Sometimes when I need a little boost, I look at the J.D. Vance portrait in the White House and thank the Lord. And ain't that the truth? We now have J.D. Vance, who we don't talk about a lot here because he's just been so damn good. He's given a couple great speeches in Europe, but he's been overlooked, I would say, a little bit, but is just doing an absolutely bang-up job. And we could have had that freaking worthless clown. So thank you, God. And Trump voters. Jimmy Kimmel, who I'm told is a comedian. Did someone say that to me before the show? Someone said Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian. I guess he's a late night comedian. I know he did blackface for a while, and he tried to force people to be injected with strange things. And, he's done a bunch of stuff like that. He also did a skit years ago where he was in blackface as a woman, as Oprah, stepping on a Latino woman's head who was pretending to be his housekeeper. He's a great man, great man. He's also very excited that Tesla stock is down.
Our co-president, Elon Musk, sent a SpaceX vehicle to bring the astronauts back, and when they landed, he fired them immediately upon landing. Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so. People have been vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so...
I mean, that line right there, he's winking to them. Vandalize Tesla vehicles. Vandalize Tesla vehicles. You know, Jimmy Kimmel, you're just like an awful, awful human being. I don't know what kind of car you had, but people may not like you for your thoughts. Should we vandalize your car? How big is your wall over at your house in Bel Air or Beverly Hills or wherever it is? And if you want to, putting aside all that for just a second, so here you have late night comedians as we just do something, again, unbelievably extraordinary. We had people, in essence, trapped in the space station. Elon saves them, brings them home. It doesn't matter what you think about his politics. This is a moment that if these people were not complete lunatics, we would all be celebrating. And now I want to just throw back for a moment to 1969. It's a long time ago. If you want to compare a late night comedian in 2025 to Walter Cronkite 1969, just look at the difference and think about what has happened to our culture.
Man on the moon. Boy.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute.
Now, after seeing it happen, knowing that it happened, it still seems like a dream.
Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Yeah, we could have done a little more of that. You know, we could have. I get it. Jimmy Kimmel's not a newsman. He's, again, a quote-unquote comedian. And quotes have to really be hit hard there. But you could have just, Jimmy, you could have said for one night on your show, you know, I'm not doing politics tonight. Something really freaking amazing happened. You could have even the fake tears that you can bust out every now and again. You could have cried about what an incredible moment that was. And that could have helped heal the country. But you just can't do it because you are paid by a giant corporation to be a very not good person at what you're supposed to do for a living. Here's a guy who is good at what he does for a living. Yeah, it's Scott Jennings over on CNN, and he fully lays out why the Democrats have just been so terrible when it's come to all of this, their new domestic terrorism against Tesla and everything with Elon, et cetera.
No violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want? The treatment of this guy is outrageous. These people who are doing this need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's my point.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail, 1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent or opposition from Elon Musk.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides.
People are legitimately upset. They're legitimately upset at Elon Musk, and they're doing it on their own, but there is no reason to have violence in the country. But I just wish all of us would support criticism of, or would support punishing people who are violent wherever they are.
Pathetic lady. How many butts did she say there in the 20 seconds that she spoke? Everyone. I have not heard anyone on the right say you cannot peacefully protest. You can, whether you're protesting the government over a policy or you're protesting because you don't like the guy who's sending the rockets to save the astronauts. Of course you can do it. Scott's making the freaking distinction. You people are just absolutely terrible. And as I have said, that show should be called Scott and the Retards because that's what it is. Send that to my friends over at CNN. Let's talk about Native Path for a minute, and then we've got more Tim Walz. Why? Why would we do this to people on Hump Day of all days? Go. Most people know that staying hydrated is essential to nearly every bodily function, but 75% of Americans still don't consume enough fluid daily. As we age, natural body changes make staying hydrated even harder, especially without artificial additives or excess sugars. That's where Native Path comes in with extra help. Native Path's Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It's a thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help with muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free and 100% natural. With their Native Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams of sodium for optimal daily hydration. Free of artificial flavor, sugars, and dyes, it's only 5 calories per serving, and every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee so you can try it risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com/Rubin to see what Native Hydrate can do for your health. All right, apologies in advance. Now we're going to do a double whammy for you. Tim Walz, the guy we just showed you there, a man who wanted to be vice president, who is literally cheering the fact that the number one car manufacturer in America, green car manufacturer, by the way, is now struggling in terms of stock price. He went on evil lizard person Gavin Newsom's podcast. Gavin Newsom, who single-handedly has destroyed California, somehow has time for a podcast. He's pumping these things out. And here they are, Walz asking the question, why is it that people don't like us very much, we the Democrats?
Why are they not trusting us? What's your take? I mean, what are you hearing when you hear this? Why are people not trusting the message we were delivering? Because I keep coming back to this. We needed to have immigration reform to control our borders, and you can do that with humanity. Donald Trump just said they're invading our country and they're eating dogs and cats, and he got more votes.
Why is it that they're not trusting your message? I don't know. Maybe it's because of things like this.
Have they figured it out that the identity piece of this is more important than the actual substance behind it?
Well, they've been doing it for decades. I mean, we've saw the welfare queens. They've seen the Southern strategy. We've seen it over and over. It's an old playbook, and we're as dumb as we want to be that we allow them to do this with CRT and ESG and DEI and every 3-letter word.
And then they demonize people.
Yeah, demonize, and they weaponize grievance. They other people. They talk down to people, past people. They humiliate people. They weaponize difficult issues. But the bottom line is, and I think it goes back to what we began with, is, and I applaud you for this, is we cannot continue to be on the defense reacting to this. We've got to go on the offense. We got to meet people where they are. But I also think this, and this is where, this is part of the conversation I'm trying to have, is you got to respect people you disagree with, and you can't just dismiss people.
How do you fight it?
This
I
notion
think
of
I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they want to do it. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Why is it people aren't listening to our messaging? I could kick all their asses. These people are horrendous. And look, again, I've told you, we've had multiple contacts now with Gavin Newsom. I want to do that show. And I will do it live and 100% unedited. And I assure you, you will see things out of Dave you've never seen before. But everything, first off, Gavin, who somehow has tried to, he's trying to repackage himself into some sort of moderate. Right there, he backs DEI, CRT, and ESG. So Gavin is Gavin. You can take a lizard out of the swamp, but you can't take the swamp out of the lizard. Something like that. Did that make sense? It was something that kind of worked right there. And Walz, I could beat the shit out of these guys. No, you couldn't. You clown. You absolute clown. You want me to? All right, I'm already in on debating Gavin. I will wrestle you, Ted, whatever the fuck his name is. You loser. You pudgy, asexual loser. You want to wrestle? I'll wrestle you. God, you people are awful. And that's why you're losing men, by the way, here.
But it's a natural reaction. I think it's one of the reasons we're losing so many men. And again, it's multi-ethnic. It's not just white men. We're losing them. We're losing them to these guys online. We're losing them people that I'm bringing on this podcast as well. That's why I brought.
These are bad guys, though. These are bad guys.
But they exist, and we could deny they exist. They exist. Not only they exist, they persist, and they're actually influencing young kids every single day.
How do we push some of those guys back under a rock?
I think we have to first understand what their motivations are. I think we have to understand what they're actually doing. And
you don't
I think
think
that's
it's racism and misogyny?
I think there's a lot of that, but I don't think it's exclusively that. When you talk to a guy like Steve Bannon, he talks about working folks, and he talks about how we hollowed out the industrial core of this country. I understand that. But we can dismiss the notion of election denialism. We could completely dismiss what he did on January 6th, but I don't think you can dismiss what he's saying. Reminds me a lot of what Bernie Sanders was saying. Reminds me a lot of what Democrats said 20, 30 years ago.
Look, I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to do it. You know, when people in the news, these actors, when they really want to connect with you guys, what do? They take the glasses off, right? I've made fun of them for years for doing it. The only reason I'm wearing these freaking things is so I can read that prompter properly, so I know what I'm doing on the show, although I am going to the doctor next week and thinking about the surgery, so stay tuned on that. If you are on Gavin Newsom's show and you are making Gavin Newsom look sane, you are a completely off the rails lunatic. And that's what you are, Tim Walz. On one hand, what can we do to speak to these people? On the other hand, I'll wrestle them, I'll fight them, I'll push them back under the rock. And then you have Gavin like, well, you know, maybe we should talk to them. Maybe like that man was almost vice president of the United States of America. And then you put the glasses on slowly, because then that proves that what you really felt was authentic. Jasmine Crockett, another authentic woman that the Democrats are putting out there. She's very confused about the issues, but I mostly want you to focus on her eyebrow. I kept saying eyebrows yesterday. It's her eyelashes. I want to get that technically right. So she does say some stuff here, and you can listen to it or not, but just what's going on with the eyelashes?
There's so much more that brings us together than separates us, right? And so get out of the cultural stuff, right? Because guess what? It's not the trans people that made you lose your job right now if you're without a job. It's not the trans people that somehow started a tariff war with Mexico or China or Canada. It's not the trans people that were out there taking away the Department of Education. So now if you were going to pay for your kiddo to go to school by using loans, those loans may not be available. It's not the trans people that they went out blaming for everything that was bad. It's also not the immigrants that they went out blaming everything on. And it's definitely not the black folk. Black people, especially black women, are still putting our bodies on the front lines in the fight for an America that will continue to kick us no matter what we do.
I don't know what the high hell she's talking about, but those eyelashes, can we get a still? Like that, how do you walk around with that? Like, does that weigh the eye down? That seems, the only thing I could compare that to, remember Jack Klompus? He's the one that gave Jerry the pen in Seinfeld. I think around season 4, he gave Jerry the pen so Jerry could write upside down. It was from astronauts. This whole show is coming together. Look at those eyebrows compared to her. Now can we go back to her eyelashes? Now can we go back to Klompus's eyebrows? Back to her eyelashes, back to the brows. Two more times. Look at that. Like, what the hell is going on there? But anyway, as per what she said, nobody is blaming. Well, actually, her eyelashes, I would imagine trans people have similar eyelashes to that. You know, if you're a dude who's dressing up as a woman, you might want the Crockett. There's probably guys that just in the last little bit have their wang cut off, and then they go to the store, or I don't know where you go. What's like a store where you deal with your eyelashes? The Claire's, is that a store? Like in the mall? Or they do earrings? What do they do? Wherever one would go for that sort of thing, I'm not really sure. And you'd walk in and you'd say, hey, I just chopped my nuts off. I'm trying to look more like a chick. Could I get the Crockett? So she is doing something for the economy. Let's just forget the rest of what she said there. It was all stupid. 1775 coffee and then Chuck Schumer. Weak coffee is for the weak. And at Rumble, weak has never been part of our mission. That's why 1775 coffee is the official coffee of Rumble. Bold, fresh, and made for people who stand for something. I drink a lot of coffee. Some of it's been decent, most of it's been forgettable. But 1775 coffee, that's the one I actually look forward to every morning. No burnt taste, no corporate shortcuts, just small batch, single origin coffee with an 85 plus cupping score, making it specialty grade. And you can taste the difference. Choose from dark roast, medium, or vitality mushroom blend. Available in whole bean, ground, and pods. However you brew it, it's roasted fresh and ready to fuel your day. Go to 1775coffee.com/Rubin and use code Rubin for 15% off and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. Oh, and every dollar spent enters you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash, because supporting the right companies should come with rewards. All right, so Chuck Schumer, who's been just terrible. 10 years ago, the guy was somewhat of a moderate Dem. He, basically went along with the lunatics this entire time, even though I don't think in his heart he is actually one of them. But he just went, and he deserves all of the blame for that. I am in no way excusing anything he has done. Well, in the last couple of days, he has decided that he's going to try to work with Trump on some of this stuff. And what happens when you're not a completely insane Democrat? You end up going on The View. and you go on The View, and a woman who looks like Jabba the Hutt, and another woman who has had way too much Restylane, and a woman who pretends she's a conservative but really is a far-left lunatic, and then the blonde chick who I always forget her name, they bang you up a little bit.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Why?
Great.
What were you thinking and why?
Okay. So look, I knew it was a difficult choice, and I knew that I'd get a lot of criticism for my choice. But I felt as a leader I had to do it.
You mentioned, this is what a leader does. And we were just talking in our last segment about we aren't seeing a clear leader of the party, because even though I agree with you with your decision, and I see why, but you were only able to get 9 Democrats to go with you. How is that leadership?
Right. Okay.
And it gives me no pleasure to say this to you because we are friends, but I think you caved. I think you and 9 other Democrats caved. I don't think you showed the fight that this party needs right now, because you're playing with by a rule book where the other party has thrown that rule book away.
But if you're right, if what you're saying is true, how do you explain the fact that Friday Trump publicly congratulated you for this decision? He said you did the right thing. Yes. He said your decision, quote unquote, took guts and courage. Was he trying to trick you?
Troll me.
He's trolling.
He was trolling me. I know this guy.
But some of the progressive members of your caucus are not, the House caucus are not with you. Jasmine Crockett questioned your leadership. Hakeem Jeffries dodged a question about your alignment over this and obviously voted the other direction. There seems to be a disconnect between the younger generation and some of the newly elected Democrats and yours. Do you believe that the party has confidence in you to continue to serve as its leader? And as somebody who is influential in helping Biden's decision to step aside, do you think it might be time for you to?
No.
All right, yes, actually, I've decided to retire. Thanks, ladies. You really convinced me. But we'll get to the substance in a second. Can you imagine? I mean, that show, it's on right now. It is live at the exact same time we are on. There are housewives that should be thinking about their children and making dinner for their husband. Is that something a woman's still allowed to do? Or cleaning the house or staying in the kitchen? That's what women like to do, right? And instead they're watching that drivel and getting angry. I want you to just take the reverse of all this. What they're all arguing about is that he signed on to the continuing resolution, so that basically it funds the government. They were going to, basically the government was going to have to shut down last week. Don't threaten me with a good time. Oh no, the government shut down. What are we going to do? Can we still go to Chili's? Yes, we still can go to Chili's even without the government. Chili's will stand. So imagine if it was the other way. Imagine it's the other way. So you have a Democrat president, then they bring on the Republican leader of the Senate, and he has signed on with the Democrat president with 9 of his guys. They would be blowing him. They would take turns blowing him under the table. That's what they would be doing right there. But instead, it's bad guy because he's working with Trump. Anyway, Chuck, you deserve all of this. You deserve all of this. You let the inmates run the asylum. Now you're seeing what's happening in the country, that most people are happy with Donald Trump, and that funding the government to whatever extent we need these losers is probably a good thing. And congratulations. And also, I love how Sunny Hostin, we're friends. Yeah, can you imagine Chuck and Sunny Hostin going out? What are they doing? They're doing shots. Like, is he doing like shots off her boobs? Like, come on, people. But you deserve it, Chuck. And it's not just The View. They're smacking you down over on the Gayle King show over on, what's that on? ABC, CBS, I think.
Hakeem and I, we have a day of action on Medicaid. In every state, in every corner of the country, Democrats are talking about they're going to Medicaid centers. They're going to people who would be deprived and
Senator, people don't have faith in the Democrats.
Well, let me say this.
It's just great. I'm sorry. He's trying so hard, like with the fake anger. We're going to have a day of action. Senator, nobody likes you. Like, he's trying. I want to send him. Can we send him a care package of Blue Chew? We're going to send him some Blue Chew. That guy needs some Blue Chew one way or another. It's just so ridiculous. Here's a little audio of Chuck. He's trying to explain to people how it is that he's able to work with the other side. And it sounds a little gay, if you ask me, but take a look.
I am hopeful that our Republican colleagues will resume working with us. And I talked to them. One of the places I told them to go in the gym, when you're on that bike in your shorts, panting away next to a Republican, a lot of the inhibitions come off.
Yeah, you're on that bike and you're sweating. There's a Republican next to you and he's sweating. You had a little Blue Chew. You're looking at that Republican going, damn, he wants to cut taxes. Wonder if we can maybe meet up. Like, what? And now this is the best. This is the best. This is beautiful. They have to, I just turned into Trump there. Did you see it? This is a beautiful clip. Best clip ever. He starts going on and on about taxes. The man loves tax. He's a Democrat, and they love taxes. If Democrats love one thing, it's taking your money and doing whatever they want with it. He's going on this rant, and watch, they start playing him out to commercial. Watch this. This is like right out of the Oscars when someone's giving one of their stupid speeches.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees. They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay.
There's no energy in that room, right? Because most people are waking up to how ridiculous. You're seeing all of the government waste, and they're playing this chill music as he has to go, and he's trying to fake emote. And it's like, no, there's so few people actually that say no taxes, right? There's very few people. There's like the most ANCAP libertarian argument for it. I'm very sympathetic to those arguments. I think the government needs some money somehow to do some stuff, basically. But this idea that they're bad because they're wary of government, or you're bad because you just don't want to endlessly fund things. And somehow the chill music, as they send him to commercial, is just great. Anyway, let's just throw back quick 5 seconds. What was it that Tim Walz said a moment ago?
Why are they not trusting us? What's your take? I mean, what are you hearing when you hear this? Why are people?
Why do they not trust you? Because you endlessly want to tax people, because you're defending the system that is stealing from people, because you people want us to hate each other because of our genitals and skin color, et cetera, et cetera. And that is in stark contrast to what Donald Trump is offering, which is success. How about that?
I don't care about the revenge thing. I know they usually use the word revenge. Will there be revenge? My revenge will be success. My greatest retribution, or as you would also say, revenge, my revenge will be success for our country. Revenge is going to be our great success.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to go after Joe Biden?
I'm really looking to make our country successful. I'm not looking to go back into the past. I'm looking to make our country successful. Retribution will be through success.
Yeah, and that's right. So on one hand, you have the guy who wanted to be VP, who's talking about wrestling people and pushing them back under a rock. And on the other hand, you have the guy who is now president of the United States, who's working with the guy that's sending the rockets to save the astronauts, that's getting rid of the government waste, that's helping us get peace in Russia, Ukraine. We'll have more on that in just a second. And doing all of these things that most of us want. So while you have Chuck Schumer being played out to commercial about how important it is that they get more of your money, America is succeeding despite everything they are trying to do. And how is America succeeding? Well, check this out from new FBI Director Kash Patel. The FBI and the Justice Department and Pam Bondi, Attorney General, have captured our third fugitive of the 10 most wanted list since January 2025. That is not an accident. When you let good cops be good cops, this is what happens. The administration is giving new FBI and Attorney General Bondi the resources to get the job done, and we won't stop. So it's not just magic that out of nowhere we caught 3 of the top 10 most wanted people. There used to be a show on television about catching most wanted people, and most people liked it. Oh, that's a real bad person. He chopped somebody's head off. We're going to go get him. But we stopped doing that under Biden, and now we're doing it again. We've got more from Kash. Breaking, I can now confirm that last night, working with the Justice Department and other interagency partners, the FBI has extradited one of our 10 most wanted from Mexico, one we believe to be a key senior leader of MS-13, Francisco Javier Roman Bardales. He was arrested in Mexico and is being transported within the U.S. as we speak, where he will face American justice. This is a major victory for both our law enforcement partners and for a safer America. Thank you to our brave personnel for executing the mission, and thank you to Mexico's SSPC and FGE teams helping the FBI in this investigation and arrest. So again, this is just government doing exactly what government is doing. Oh, and how about a little bit more on that? I don't know if you heard about this last night, or maybe you were either wrestling with Tim Walz or he had pushed you under a rock, but they released the JFK Files last night. And as I can see it so far, there's nothing like so mind-blowing that has come across, but if people can figure it out, If you've got a lot of Adderall and a lot of time, like if you can figure it out, then please, we'll cover it. But let me just show you a little bit, and I'll read just a bit here from this one image. Ramparts of June 1967, Volume 5, number 12, pages 28 to 29, contain the following passages about subjects. So this is the part that most people are kind of hung up on today, and we'll see if anything comes of it. The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at the home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA were responsible for the assassination, he confided, and he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it a suicide. J. Garrett Underhill had been an intelligence agent during World War II and was recognized authority on limited warfare and small arms, a researcher and writer on military affairs. He was on a first-name basis with many of the top brass in the Pentagon. He was also on intimate terms with a number of high-ranking CIA officials. He was one of the agency's unpeople who performed special assignments. At one time, he had been a friend of Samuel Cummings of Intermarco, the arms broker that numbers among its customers the CIA and, ironically, Klein Sporting Goods of Chicago, from whence the mail-order Karenko allegedly was purchased by Oswald. Okay, so that's where the gun potentially was purchased. Maybe there's something there. Who knows? The guy then committed suicide. Like, we don't know. People will look into all of this stuff. But the reason I'm showing you that right now without like some sort of definitive, my God, the CIA did it, or the mafia did it, or the guy who was doing the weird things with the squirrels or ferrets or whatever, if you watch the JFK movie, that guy, like, we don't know. But the point is, we're having at least some layer of transparency right now, right? And that is good. And you know what else is good? Check this out. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt, readout of President Donald Trump's call with President Vladimir Putin today. President Trump and President Putin spoke about the need for peace and a ceasefire in the Ukraine war. Both leaders agreed this conflict needs to end with a lasting peace. They also stressed the need for improved bilateral relations between the U.S. and Russia. The blood and treasure that both Ukraine and Russia have been spending in this war would have been better spent on the needs of the people. This conflict should have never started and should have been ended long ago with sincere and good faith peace efforts. The leaders agreed that the movement to peace will begin with an energy and infrastructure ceasefire, as well as technical negotiations on implementation of a maritime ceasefire in the Black Sea, full ceasefire and permanent peace. These negotiations will begin immediately in the Middle East. The leaders spoke broadly about the Middle East as a region of potential cooperation to prevent future conflicts. They further discussed the need to stop proliferation of strategic weapons and will engage with others to ensure the broadest possible application. The two leaders shared the view that Iran should never be in a position to destroy Israel. The two leaders agreed that a future with an improved bilateral relationship between the U.S. and Russia has huge upside. This includes enormous economic deals and geopolitical stability when peace has been achieved. Guys, we'll see what happens in the negotiations right now. But the war is grinding down. There's going to be negotiations. They'll talk about those maritime borders. They'll talk about the literal physical borders as well. They'll talk about how to, I don't know, help situation in the Middle East, which people years ago were always for Middle East peace. That was a big thing. And then maybe we stop viewing ourselves as absolute adversaries of Russia and we're like, oh, they've got a lot of energy. And we need energy because we consume a lot. And maybe there are things that we can do together. Isn't that all good? Donald Trump has barely been president for 2 months. And this is where we are at. Elon Musk, once again on Hannity.
If I may, one last question. You know, when I interviewed you and President Trump together, one of the questions I asked both of you was, are you aware that there are groups that want to separate you, groups that would like to divide you, groups that would like to see you not work together? I feel it's stronger than it's ever been. Do you get the same sense?
I think they're getting desperate because, I mean, the reason we're seeing this extreme amount of hatred and violence is because we're actually succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste. If we weren't succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste, they wouldn't care. But we are succeeding. Thanks. Without President Trump, this would be impossible. So I'd just like to say, you know, it's only possible with this president. And we've got this window where we can finally take corrective action. We can fix the government, fix the country, and create a great future. And again, that's only possible because of President Trump.
Isn't that the guy you want to be on the team of? Again, that's not bowing down to anyone, whether it's Elon or him, but the guy who's getting the corruption out of government also happens to be the guy that just saved the astronauts. And he also happens to be the guy that owns the car company that is literally having their cars blown up right now, and random people key random people's cars as if that's retribution against him and everything else. So it's very similar, actually, to these crazy Hamas protests. Which way, America? It doesn't mean that everything that Donald Trump does is right. It doesn't mean that everything Elon Musk does is right. It doesn't mean that anything that I say is right or anything else. But which way, America? Do you want to be on the side of the people who love freedom, who love capitalism and competition and markets and people, like actually love people and doing amazing things and helping us dream and accomplish unbelievable things in our lifetime? In my lifetime, that guy is going to get humans on Mars. And then, as I said yesterday, then we'll start 3D printing rockets on Mars, and we'll go further than that and further than that. And who knows, maybe we'll meet other intelligent life out there. Haven't found much here, but maybe it's out there somewhere. So do you want to be on that guy's team, or do you want to be on the team that want to push people under a rock, wrestle random people, lie about everything, be on the side of neo-racism and chopping off genitals and everything else? It seems like a pretty clear choice for me. And instead of cold closing you today, we're just going to end the show with this, because this was really beautiful. In Miami last night, they put up an incredible drone show. So it was in honor of President Trump. So you're going to see a lot of pro-Trump stuff, and there's a little of the dancing and the whole thing. But just like what a technological marvel this is. And we are in such a moment, guys, where between AI, between drones and robots and automated cars and all these things, there's such a beautiful future on the horizon. It's the horizon that the synthwave people back in the 80s were always thinking about. And they always connected that actually deeply to Miami colors and things of that nature. That's why it was all sort of those pastels, and you could sort of see the horizon of Miami. So this is a kind of very Miami thing, but like there's so much coolness and goodness if you're just willing to see it and not fall into all of the traps that have been laid out there. Post-game show right after this, RubinReport.locals.com. Thanks for watching.